we are joint heirs, Siamese twins on a trampoline. We speak what he wrote, Melania's speech, Michelle's notes. Israel hit the ground running like a breech birth cause we got home. Hold up, Yeshua is the Messiah. It's his will over our will, so we call that student driver. He calls us his song. Sorry, Mariah. Posted we carry these notes, addressing all outsiders. We will rise up.
If you come against the scriptures, man, we gon' rise up. If you come against our heritage, we gon' rise up. It don't matter, anybody get it, man. We gon' rise up, we rise up. If you come against the king, man, we gon' rise up. If you come against our Elohim, we gon' rise up. It don't matter, anybody get it, man. We gon' rise up, we rise up.
Yeah.
Rise up, and rise up.
Rise up in the morning, see my people in poverty, crying out to my people. They asking me why you bother me. Slaves, we living in colonies, walking like zombies who bred with lobotomies. Even preacher man and creature man, down low with them sodomies. And no, it isn't an oddity, rather the norm, so check the academy. They say it ain't easy, I guess that's the academy. Rise, I'm getting that out of me, know that they lie to me, no longer lie to me. The shoe flipped up the process. Yeah, I molded the pottery. Hold up. What they gonna do when they show up? Will they ever grow up? Cause some rather breed with a bowl than to run and plant seed with a sower. You remember Noah? Where you gonna be when the blow, when they haven't reseed, then it roll up? Then you're gonna go up. You better reread what you know of mainframe, DP, and to go up.
If you come against the scriptures, man, we gon' rise up. If you come against our heritage, we gon' rise up. It don't matter, anybody get it, man. We gon' rise up, we rise up. If you come against the king, man, we gon' rise up. If you come against our Elohim, we gon' rise up. It don't matter, anybody get it, man. We gon' rise up, we rise up, and rise up. Judah, rise up. Benjamin, rise up. Levi, rise up. Asher, we gon' rise up. Naphtali, rise up. Reuben, rise up. Issachar, rise up. Zebulun, we gon' rise up. Manasseh, rise up. Ephraim, rise up. Gad, rise up. Dan, we gon' rise up. 12 tribes, rise up. 12 tribes, rise up. 12 tribes, rise up. 12 tribes, we gon' rise up.
We'll be getting started here momentarily.
All praise to the Most High. First of all praises to the Most High. Most cry and wonder why it's all strife. Grew in the hood just to dodge cops. That feeling's all too familiar, like the slave patrol night watch. They say get out, but that's a tight box. We grew up in that sunken place. The brain is tight locked. The deep sleeps in Isaiah Ock. Judah special, we drown sorrows in Harlem Nights and Red Fox. Police brutality's the norm to us. They harm us and misinform with the plan of all the Torahs. Well, fam, you gotta read the Torah. Israelites are ancestors, Jerusalem full of posers. What they did to Joseph, look a little closer. Brother turn an enemy and hit you with the poker. Oppressors, they opposers, back of the bus rolls of distractions and the act of attacks to hide motives, I told you. All praises to the Most High. It's our story, it's our story. Read the book and it won't lie. For his glory, for his glory. Yo, it's a shame. Losing hope to gain normality, cause our reality is the Mortal Kombat fatalities. No principalities and declining of all morality. But in the vanity, there's a prophecy still happening. On the internet, the enemies still cackling. The blind leading the blind right into the reckoning. But ain't no glory in forming weapons against your brethren. Or we gon' come together or perish because of foolishness. Sell drugs, pop slugs, that's pretty damaging. It helps them, not us, our own worst enemy. Divided in the hood, oppressed, we got no synergy. Work, then retire and die, we got no energy. But this is just a sample of dirt. In God's words, we astronomers, proverbs and bywords. We should focus on the law and the glory of his word. Cause the teachers and the doctrines of men is absurd. All praises to the Most High. It's our story. It's our story. Yeah. Read the book and it won't lie. For his glory, for his glory. Yeah. Yo, Israel. It's just part 1, man. Part 2 on the way. Check it out.
All right, shalom, y'all. Shalom, shalom, shalom. It's Michael Israel here. You watching Spiritual Combat, and as you can see, the title of today's show is "Put on the Full Armor of God." Okay. So we're going to be talking a little bit about spiritual warfare. Shalom, brothers. Shalom, Watchers King. See you in there. But yeah, so the title of today's show is Put on the Full Armor of God. And we're going to be talking about certain aspects of that. And I'm just be sticking on this one point because I see it going on everywhere, and that is, the warfare we're under, the spiritual attacks we're under. We are at war, and I don't think some people don't realize they're in war. They haven't been trained up or whatever, and so let me get into the first scripture here. Let me see. All right. All right. And that's Ecclesiastes. This is in the Old Testament, chapter 3. And we're going to start at verse 3. It says, well, actually, let me bring it back a little bit. We'll just start. We might start at the beginning. All right. So Ecclesiastes chapter 3. Okay. And it says, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. Okay. So a time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to break down, and a time to build up, a time to weep, and a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance. It says a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace, a time to refrain from embracing, a time to get and a time to lose, a time to keep, a time to cast away, a time to rend and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time to war and a time of peace. So, basically, one of the points that I'm getting at there is, like it says, there's a time for everything. What happens a lot is, it's like when we're not aware that there's times for those different things. In fact, some of those things I read in there, people A lot of teachings that you get will tell you that some of that stuff is evil, okay? But, and hey, you got to love everybody and love and don't have hate in your heart, brother, and all this stuff like that. And a lot of that stuff isn't biblical. But the main point I want to focus on is there's a time for war. And what I run into time and time again, and because there's a direct agenda by Satan to deceive you from being a warrior. A lot of people don't realize that it's wartime, that they're in war, and not only are they at war, they're actually in actual combat on a battlefield, and they're unaware of that. And it's just imperative to be aware of what season it is and what season you're in. Okay. Being aware that you know what I'm saying? You are in a combat situation. Okay. Is imperative. And thoroughly recognizing that you're in one of those situations, and then understanding what war is and what going to war is. Okay. And hold on one sec here. I'm just getting everything set up here. But yeah, having a thorough warfare understanding, is it's imperative. A lot of people let me go back to this verse real quick. I could show, like, and if you have questions about what I'm saying, I could show you exactly what I'm talking about, to where you'll be like, wow, and what I mean. And if y'all need me to go into detail, like I'm saying, I can. But a lot of people, it's this time right here, a time of war. Okay? It's a time of war. But a lot of people are being told that it's this time, a time to dance. So, you know what I'm saying? I see it. And a lot of people they're on a battlefield. Shots are being fired. They're in actual combat. And combat is the actual exchange where it's actually going down. And they're out there dancing. And they can't figure out why they keep getting knocked out, why all this stuff's happening. And what they get told to do is, you need to dance harder. But it's not that season. It's not the season of dancing. It's the season of combat. It's the season of warfare. Okay? So, I mean, it's, we gotta, and I could, when I say I could prove it, people are showing me situations, or not showing me, come to me with situations, all the time, or questions that they have for me that I do my shows on. Because I get inbox a lot of questions and comments to do shows on, and a lot of people are in these situations where they've been dancing for years, and now they done did the disco boogie, they done did all types of daggone dances, and just been blown all over the place on the battlefield and cannot figure it out, and then they come to me, And I tell them, yeah, it's not dance season. And this isn't, a discotheque. Like, you're on a battlefield, man. And those flashes you see, that's not a strobe light. Those are mortars and bombs and missiles and grenades raining down around you, trying to destroy you, my brother. I say, go to war. You gotta go to war, and then another good analogy to put on top of that is, you can't fight that grenade and try to punch it. That's not where your enemy is. So your enemy ain't your brother. Like, so you don't go after your brother or that person. That verse, I think it's Ephesians 6:11, says we war not against flesh and blood. It's saying it's a spiritual war. Okay? It's a spiritual war. Okay? A spiritual wickedness in high places, but it's a spiritual war. You fighting spiritual beings. You fight, and so here go people. They're fighting the weapon Satan uses. They're trying to punch bullets. They're trying to fight their brother or their sister, when in reality it's a spiritual war. And the warfare that you're fighting against is in your head. It's in your mind. That's where the battle's at. It's a spiritual war. And it could be in that other person's head and in their mind. And that's what's using them to attack you. But you're trying to punch the bullet, which is pointless. You have to, like I teach a lot of people, if you want to win somebody over or be efficient in your warfare, where the Most High is using somebody as a weapon against you or whatever like that, number one, you got to get your mind right. Understand, hey, how you deal with a weaponized person. Sometimes you got to leave them alone. Sometimes you just got to be done with them. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes it's not that simple. Okay. Sometimes it's not that simple. Sometimes you have to, sometimes when you're dealing with these people, you have to, use wisdom. Okay. You have to use wisdom, because you can't cut them off. You're married to them or whatever. So you have to deal with them according to wisdom and learn that. So you have to learn the warfare. Let's instead of me trying to memorize verse, let's go to Ecclesiastes. I'm gonna pull it up on here so everybody can see it, and we're gonna go to the verse, so I don't have to try to recite it and misquote it. All right, so we're going to go to Ephesians 6. Let's see, Ephesians 6. Wow. And my computer is still messed up. It takes forever to download stuff because something's messed up in it. So that's why I've been having trouble doing interviews. It does it when it wants. All right, so it says, finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. And what's being strong in the Lord? It's not no vague, gray, wishful thinking thing. What's being strong in the Lord? The application of his word in your life and learning where it needs to be applied in your life. And let me break that down even more so you know exactly what I'm talking about. In the areas of your life where it needs to be applied at, and how do you know the areas of your life where the word needs to be applied at? That's where all the pain, strife, drama, all the situations, that's where all them are at. Like wherever you see all that popping off at, that's where you need to be focused on, because somewhere you're not applying the word correctly in your life, and so that's where you need to be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. That's where you need to apply his word at and go to war at, is in those painful areas in your life, whatever it is, whatever the stronghold might be. It could it could be some type of addiction or whatever like that. It could be some other person you're dealing with or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is. Like I remember a big one for me was at work, dealing with folks at work. Like that was a rough one. And I thoroughly began to apply the word in my life in those areas. And when I say apply it, searching through the scriptures to see how do I interact with this situation here? You know, where am I at error in this? How do I deal with these people? And I got answers. And I began applying it. And, you know, fast forward, you know, I thrive at work. I don't have any issues with dealing with these other nations and stuff like that at work. But anyway, it says, finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in his power and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that ye may stand to be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. The wiles, the tricks, the deception of the devil. Again, Satan deceives you into fighting yourself and fighting your brothers and sisters. When you got to use war strategy to go to fight him. Okay, you have to use war strategies to fight him. What are the war strategies? His law, statutes, commandments. His law, statutes, and commandments ain't just stop eating pork. You know, you can't. You know, a lot of people push those surface level laws, but they never push. You never hear anybody teaching the laws that pertain to character and you having character as a person, which the whole book is basically pointing you at that, at you developing your character, your morals, like how you deal with people, how you think, and all that stuff like that. Like the weightier matters of the law that Jesus referred to. He said you clean the outside of the cup, so you do all these external law, statutes, and commandments, which you should. But you see a lot of Hebrews, that's where they stop at. And then they don't do the inner work. Get rid of those twisted areas inside themselves. And in doing that, then they have trouble dealing with other people in their, you know what I'm saying? Have trouble dealing with other people around them. Okay? Okay, so it says, put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the tricks or the wiles of the devil. Let me pull that up so y'all can see it. Okay? For we wrestle not against flesh and blood. Okay, so that brother or sister who getting you mad, getting you turned up, getting you frustrated, doing all types of crazy stuff, it ain't so much. Sometimes you can't fight him and change him. Sometimes you just got to change yourself and change how you deal with him. Okay? And sometimes you can change him and affect him. It all depends. But again, that goes back to that finally, my brother, where it says that comes back to that being strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. That comes back to that. This isn't, let me pull it back up. This isn't no pie in the sky magical stuff. A lot of this stuff is very practical. Okay? A lot of what I run into is, okay, you need to do this. Don't do that. Boom, here's the scripture clearly saying that you need to be doing this and not that with that situation. And I'm gonna read through to show you something, because I did a video a while back about being motivated and amped up, turned up to go to war and smash down certain strongholds. It requires works on your part. Okay? Faith without works is dead. Works is what you do when you have faith. Works is what you do when you believe. And when you're going to see it, it's all through the book. It just gets, a lot of people, miss that. But let me show you this. Okay? It says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against So again, like I said, a spiritual wickedness in high places. A lot of people are fighting people. A lot of people are fighting themselves. Trust me, I could go all into that. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. Okay? So put on that whole armor, because sometimes you just got to endure. That don't mean to sit there and take the beating. But there comes sometimes, like when you're overcoming something and it's so heavy, sometimes you just got to dig in and just get ready to take some blows. You know what I'm saying? Have endurance. Okay. Stand therefore, having your loins girded about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness. So girded in truth is having that understanding of what you need to be doing in certain situations. What's right, what's wrong. And not just that surface level stuff, but dealing with difficult people, dealing with your own mind and the thoughts that are being put in there, because it's a spiritual war that you're fighting. Okay? So understanding, how you need to be, you know what I'm saying, dealing with that stuff. And it says, in your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Okay? It says, above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked. Okay? And this is the thing, the most important piece of armor out of everything is what? Is the faith. Okay? And it says, and take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. Okay? Now, let me break this down, because if you don't have faith, it says faith without works is dead. If you don't have that faith, because a lot of people, they have the faith, they have the righteousness, and they have the sword, which is the word, and they know the word. Okay? But the faith is the application of the word. So if you're in a war and your enemy launches a volley or whatever they call it, a whole, you've seen it in some of the movies where they shoot off about 50 arrows, woof, up into the air on fire, and then they come down on you. If you have a sword, you're going to be up there trying to, slash the arrows. Eventually, you're going to be stabbed and on fire. Nothing really. If you have the helmet, you have the helmet. It's going to hit you in the shoulder. If you got on the armor, your armor's. It might not go through your armor, your breastplate and stuff that you have on, but it's going to catch you on fire. You see what I'm saying? So if you don't have the faith, you're going to be done. So that's when you have that shield, and those arrows come in, you get under the shield, all that stuff hits, and you're protected. Then you can just shake it off, go back to war. But you're going to get easily destroyed if you ain't got the faith. And what's the faith? That desire, that motivation, that knowing that this is the truth, and that I got to apply it in my life. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. All right. So, and the thing is, I mean, when you look around, and you don't have to look far, when you look around, you see people getting destroyed out here, like in straight war, and losing the battles, or just barely hanging on, because they don't have a battle plan. Like nobody's told them they're in war and get your armor on. And each fiery dart that's launched, go right into them, and it's just efficient. And they're just untrained soldiers out there on the battlefield. you know? And that's why I done parked the car right here in this spot of combat and warfare, because that's the one thing that nobody's being told about. And like I said, I could prove it in a lot of ways. Okay? So it's real, you know? But yeah, it's definitely a real thing. But that pretty much wraps up this lesson here, and just letting people know that really consider this. Look at where you're at warfare in your life with your own mind and with people around you. You run into certain people, they got a bunch of drama and all this stuff going on in their life. They're at warfare, you know. When the book says, "My burden is light." His burden isn't heavy like Satan's burden. It's a burden nonetheless. It is a burden, but he says a light burden. So there's stuff you do have to do, but it's going to make your life easier. It's going to make your life stress-free. You know, it's going to make, you're going to be content. Okay? When you apply what this Bible says in your life. I hear so many people talking spiritually, but they're not applying this in their life to practical, obvious stuff, whether it's in them or whether it's dealing with other people. This was me for years, till it got to the point where I started getting so many gray hairs. Like I tell you, these is gray hairs. These ain't platinum highlights. I know that's what y'all thought they were, you know what I'm saying? But no. But what happened, it got so stressful in my life that I just had to, you know what I'm saying? I had to just really sit down and do a life audit, a self audit, and really sit down and look at what's going on with me. Where am I in error at? And while I was dealing with all these situations, it looked like I knew I was right, but I wasn't. I was off. I wasn't dealing with stuff righteously according to Most High's word, whether it came to dealing with people at my job or relationships or dealing with sin in my life. I wasn't applying this word to it. And you will know them by their fruits. And the fruit, and I knew myself by the fruits. And the word is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart. So I just looked at what I was harvesting in, and it wasn't good. You know, I looked at the fruits that my actions were bearing, and it wasn't good. And then once you humble down and begin to do that, everything in the Bible clicks together and makes perfect sense, you know. But anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. I hope this lesson was informative. Appreciate it, everybody tuning in. If it's a blessing to you, definitely share it. And with that said, shalom, y'all.